Today, we're going way beyond just the trees. We're going to explore the hidden, complex world of the forest and find out why it's not just a nice patch of nature, but why it's actually our planet's lifeline. So let's dive right in.
So let's start with a tough question. Imagine your town is struggling, unemployment is high, and then a proposal comes along. Clear a nearby forest, build a factory, and create hundreds of new jobs. I mean, that sounds like a win, right? A real solution for the community. But is it really that simple?
You know, this isn't just a hypothetical. A real town faced this exact choice, and it completely split the community. On one side, you've got the promise of jobs, of economic stability. And on the other side, you have people saying, no way, we cannot destroy our forest. It's that classic, difficult debate, progress versus preservation.
And this is where a local expert, a Professor Ahmad, stepped in and framed the argument perfectly with this quote. He called forest green lungs and water-purifying systems. Now, those aren't just some poetic phrases, right? They describe critical, life-sustaining jobs that forests do for all of us. And we're about to break down exactly what that means.
So, to really understand how a forest works, you've got to see it from the inside out. Let's start our journey at the very top and work our way down, looking at the physical structure that makes this whole thing possible.
You know that feeling? The moment you step under the trees, it's like you've entered a different world. The air gets cooler, the noise of the city fades away, and suddenly you just hear birds, insects, the wind rustling leaves. And when you look up, you don't really see the sky. You see this huge green ceiling. It's just an instant change.
And that green ceiling? It has a name. It's called the canopy. It's the top layer made up of all the branches and leaves from the tallest trees, all woven together. Think of it like the forest's roof. It's the first line of defense from the elements and its main power source, soaking up all that sunlight.
But a forest isn't just flat. It's more like a multi-story building full of life. So you've got the canopy as the roof. Then below that, there's the understory. That's kind of the middle floor, with all the shrubs and smaller trees. And then, all the way at the bottom, you have the forest floor. That's the ground level, covered in herbs and all these decaying leaves. And as we're about to see, that ground floor is maybe the most important part of the whole system.
All right, so we've got the structure down. Now let's get into the process. Because honestly, the most incredible thing about a forest is how it keeps itself going. It's a perfect closed-loop recycling system.
This quote just nails it. You know, unlike our world, where we produce tons and tons of trash, in a forest, absolutely nothing is wasted. Every single thing, from a tiny leaf that falls to an animal at the end of its life, it all gets reused. It's amazing. Let's see how they do it. Okay, so it all starts with energy from the sun, right? Plants, like grass, capture that energy. And then a food chain shows how that energy moves. An insect eats the grass, a frog eats the insect, and then a snake eats the frog. Every creature is just one link in this chain, passing that energy along.
But what about when that snake, or any other plant or animal, dies? Does all that energy that was stored up inside it just disappear? Well, in the forest, that's when some of the most important work really begins.
This is where the cleanup crew comes in. All these tiny decomposers, we're talking fungi, bacteria, insects, worms, they get to work breaking down all that dead stuff. And they turn it into this dark, rich material called humus. Humus is basically a superfood for the soil, packed with nutrients that new plants need to grow. It's literally the circle of life happening right there on the forest floor.
So we've seen how the forest is this incredible self-sustaining system, but its impact goes so much further than its own boundaries. So now let's zoom the camera way out and look at the jobs forests do for the entire planet.
Remember Professor Ahmad's green lungs? Well, this is exactly what he meant. It's a perfect natural balancing act. We animals breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Plants, they do the exact opposite. They take in our carbon dioxide and release the oxygen that we all need to live. And forests, they are the biggest engine for this process on land, by far.
Okay, now let's talk about water. Picture a huge, heavy rainstorm. If that rain is just hammering down on bare, empty ground, what happens? There's nothing to stop it. The water just rushes across the land, washing away precious soil and causing massive floods. But if you have a forest there, it's a completely different story. First, that canopy, the roof, it breaks the force of the rain. The water then drips down gently to the ground, where the huge network of tree roots and rich soil acts like a giant natural sponge, just soaking it all up.
This prevents floods and recharges our groundwater. It's incredible. So all of this, the structure, the recycling, the breathing, the water control, it all comes right back to us. Let's bring it all home and see exactly why forests aren't just important, they are truly our lifeline.
I mean, just take a look at the sheer amount of stuff we get from forests. It's everything from the wood in our homes and the paper we use to things like gums and oils, spices, and so many medicinal plants that form the foundation of modern medicine. They provide for us in countless ways we don't even think about.
So the flip side of that is, well, it's pretty scary. If we lose our forests, carbon dioxide in the air goes up, which means the planet gets hotter. Countless animals lose their homes. The soil can't hold water, leading to more and more floods. At the end of the day, our own lives and our entire environment are put at risk.
And that really gets to the heart of it. A forest isn't just a bunch of trees that we can chop down. It's a dynamic living entity. That means it's bursting with life, and every single part, the plants, the animals, the soil, the water, they all depend on each other. It's one big, interconnected, living thing.
Which brings us right back to that town and their tough choice. The evidence is pretty clear, isn't it? Forests are our lifeline. They give us the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the stability our planet needs to thrive. So the real question this leaves us with is, if we know they're our lifeline, how do we become theirs?